Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm reviewing another wine from Ridge Vineyards. This is their 2017 Estate Chardonnay. So I've done a previous video on Ridge Vineyards, went through the history, so I won't go through it again. I'll just refer you to that video, which will be at the end of this video. But just a short kind of summary. They started in 1885. I went through some ownership changes in 1966. Four kind of friends from Stanford Research Institute got together, purchased the winery, and then they chose a person called Paul Draper, who was one of their friends also, to become the kind of the managing director, and he joined into the partnership. So this wine actually comes from their famous Monte Bello vineyard, and it has been produced since 1962. A lot of times in the past, they weren't producing very much of it, so they were only producing about 10 barrels, and say they only sold it out of their wine shop. And formerly, they called this actually their Santa Cruz Chardonnay, and then in, I think, 2009, they decided that the grapes that were being used were mature enough, and they just, they came from the Monte Bello vineyard. Now, the Monte Bello vineyard itself is known for their great red wines, but I guess they do produce a little bit of Chardonnay with this also. At Ridge, they're famous for their pre-industrial approach to winemaking. And what that means is that they try not to put too much additives into it. They like the grapes to kind of speak for themselves. They use native yeast. The other thing is they do on their label, which is very unique, is they list all the actions and the ingredients they have in the label. They want to be totally transparent with how they make their wine. This wine is aged in oak, 93% American oak and 7% French oak, and between new to 4-year-old barrels. Mostly, very little of it is new oak, but you know, it's a really interesting drink for me because they're not known for their white wines, but I thought it would be interesting to taste it. So let's look at the cork. It's 2017 Ridge, nothing specific about this, but the bottle is something I always enjoy about Ridge. They've got so much information on the bottle. 2017 Ridge Estate Chardonnay from the Monte Bello Vineyard, 14.2% alcohol, 100% Chardonnay. So they put everything on the label here. And all these labels are different. So it says bottled 2018, describes how they picked everything. On the color, so I think the video itself, my tasting, shows a better color. This is under direct light, so it's a lot darker in person than it shows because I'm right under direct light. But it's a grainy, kind of a straw yellow, which is a very nice color. It shows a little bit of aging. So like many of my other reviews, I do taste the wine a number of times. I've tasted it over the last day or so. I had it with some classic pairings. I had lobster, and then I had some fish, some tuna in particular. What I find is with this wine, it is a very high level wine that perhaps you shouldn't be too cold. It's more at room temperature. It's nice, I think in my mind a little bit better. But as you can see on the color, the 2017 has got a nice color. It's now developed almost a kind of a hay or straw type yellow color, which is quite nice. So on the aroma, so when I first opened it, I thought to myself, classic Napa or US Chardonnay, bold, very oaky, lots of vanilla. And my first thought in my mind was, I don't even need to butter my corn. You know, I can just drink this wine. It was so buttery. Now that I've drunk it for a while, I think that has dissipated a bit, but it's still quite buttery on the nose. There are some tropical elements like overripe peach, apples, but you get the toastiness for sure, butter and vanilla in this wine. So if you don't like that style, you won't like this wine. If you do like it, you'll love it. It's very distinctive, very aromatic. On the taste, fairly prototypical US Chardonnay, butter, vanilla, citrus elements, peach, very bold. It's not subtle in any way. I think as a sipping wine, it's too heavy, but when I paired it with lobster, it was spectacular. In my mind, it's a little bit bold in terms of style for me. And when I compare it to the Burgundies are not as oaked as this and not as intense a flavor, and maybe has a little bit more tropical elements than this. A little bit more subtle. I'll check the alcohol content on this, but I believe it is 14.2%. So a little bit higher than you would expect with, like, say, white Burgundies. So this will be kind of in your face, a little bit more. Yeah, full flavored. You're not really having to guess around with this. Not a lot of subtlety in this wine. But that's good or bad. And some people really like that style. Personally, again, it's a little bit bold for my taste bud. So I'm going to give this 91 points. I think the wine inspector rating is 92 points. It's between there. It's a good wine. And again, it's stylistically, if you enjoy this type of bold US oaky Chardonnay, you'll love this wine. You might rate it like 95 points. For me, it's just not for my palate. And so it's a good wine, definitely a quality wine. But I can see how this, if you were a Burgundy drinker, white Burgundy drinker, that you may not like this wine as much. Hope you've enjoyed this tasting. Until next time, happy drinking.